Hi everyone, thank you for connecting on restaurantcoach.com. This is a training on food cost control in a restaurant. This is an online course. This first or one of the first video is to define what food cost ratio is. So to define it, first of all, we're going to make a little difference. When we are talking about food cost ratio, in fact, we are talking about food and beverage cost ratio. It's a slight difference because the food cost will be under the responsibility of the chef, and the beverage cost will be under the responsibility of the maître d'hôtel or the person in charge of the service. It is two different areas, and the chef will not go in the cave in order to count the Bordeaux and the Beaujolais, and the maître d'hôtel will not be welcome to go in the fridge to see how many sirloin do you have. Okay, so this is a slight difference. In small companies, of course, it is the manager, the owner, who tracks the food and beverage cost ratio all at once. So in this training, we are talking about food and beverage cost ratio, but when we are talking about food cost ratio, it includes the beverage too. And there's also the F&B cost ratio, which is going to be used. Okay, so all these denominations are talking about the same thing because we are going to track this ratio the same way for beverage or for food. So what is it exactly? What are we talking about when we say food cost ratio? So let's imagine you have 4 persons coming in a restaurant and they pay a total amount of $100. And to prepare these 4 menus of $100, you have used sausage, food, all kind of food, wine, maybe coffee. So all the expense represent $30. So you spend $30 in food and beverage and they pay $100. In this case, we are talking about the food and beverage ratio of 30%. That means $30 that has been used to prepare the menu for $100 of income. So we can define this very simply. The food cost ratio is on a set time period, the average food and beverage value used for each $100 that a client paid. Okay, so this is the amount of food that you used for $100. So let's take another example with a larger scale. So we have 3 ladies that own a restaurant, and during 1 month they make $100,000 of income. To serve these people, they have used $35,000 of food and beverage to serve these people for these $100,000. So that means that for $100,000 they spend $35,000 of food and beverage. Then for $100 they spend $35 of food and beverage. This is a ratio, so it is a report between 100,000, so you make it $100, and the 35,000, that becomes $35. So in this case, of course, we are talking about a food cost of 35%. Okay, because it is $35 for each time a client pays $100. Why is it so important? Why in big group in the industry of restaurant, companies are paying food and beverage managers to focus almost only on this food and beverage cost ratio? Why is it that important? Why in a small company you need to calculate it, not the same way than in big group, because otherwise you will not sleep anymore, but you need to track it at least a little bit just to have indicators. If you look at this restaurant, $100,000, you have $35,000 going for the food. You have another $35,000 going for the staff and the social charges, the staff food, the staff uniform, and so on. So this is already $70,000 which are gone. 30,000 is just remaining for you to pay rent, loans, vehicles, insurances, taxes, lawyer, accountant, electricity, gas, promotion, materials, decoration. And of course, you must not forget that in these $30,000, you must have also profits. So you see, the control of the ratio of the food cost, if you can earn 1%, 2%, 3%, it is that much that you will have in profit at the end of the month. If you do not control the food cost, at the end of the month, you may have losses of 3,000, which is the estimate that I made, just an average estimate to you, of course. So the food cost ratio, this is why the food cost ratio is one of the major indicators watched by owners to make sure their restaurant will make profit. If you cannot control this food cost ratio and the expenses, and these expenses on food cost, then you will go for losses. So this is why this food cost ratio is so important. So I invite you to see the next video, which is going to be how to calculate the food and beverage cost ratio.